Hey, what's happening? It's Bill Smith. This is a map lesson. I want to cover a bunch of stuff here, so we'll just get into it. So that's the United States. You know, most of you are probably there. This is the Middle East. We're going to scroll in here. And we kind of stopped talking about Syria, right? But there it is. So Syria is on the other side of Iraq than Iran. And Iran is where the Persians are. So these people are historically, like racially, these are the Persians. And these down here on this Arab peninsula, right? Those are Arabs. So Persians, Arabs. And Iraq is kind of in the middle. Now, Iraq used to have three factions: Sunni, Shiite, and Christian, I think. I could have got those wrong. I don't know my Iraq history too well, but I know there was three factions fighting for Iraq. And they're talking about splitting the country into three pieces now. So I'm going to tell you why that's a bad idea, or why I think it's a bad idea. This is Syria. So, like I said, we stopped talking about it. I don't know what's happening over there. No one's following this anymore. I don't know. Did we win? Like I know everyone says Iran's next, per the QAnon drops, but what about Syria? Did we win? From what I've read, Israel is still dropping bombs on them. There's still conflict over here. So this is Israel right here. They got all the best land along the Mediterranean Ocean. So when people say, hey, that little strip of land is useless, let me tell you something, buddy. That is probably the most important, some of the most valuable property in the world is the far inland border along the Mediterranean Ocean. And they got it all. They got the whole thing. Except for this little piece of land down here called the Gaza Strip, which is technically Palestine, along with the West Bank. But they're both under military occupation and they like to keep them bunched up. So there's not a lot of development. There's more destruction happening here in the West Bank and Gaza Strip. They like to go in, and Israel likes to make settlements. And the best way to make a settlement is to kick someone off their property and start building houses there. So that's where that comes from. There's Jordan. So Jordan shares a border inland from Israel. They also have a little bit of waterfront property down here called the Gulf of Aqaba, is that it? Aqaba, which flows out into the ocean. There's the Red Sea down by Yemen. Okay, and Yemen is the southern tip of Saudi Arabia, the Arabian Peninsula. Down here, Somalia, while we're on it, this is where all the pirates hang out, man. Mogadishu is a freaking war zone. You don't ever want to go there, ever. And all these shipping lines come through here, I think, and right around this corner, I'll show you how it all links up. See how it comes through the Mediterranean? It's like a shortcut to get over here. So there's like cruise liners and shipping container ships. They get boarded by these Somali pirates, which look like some dark-colored skeletons carrying AKs on a fishing boat. It's amazing that they could actually do it, and for a long time, the only way that they got away with it was because there was no armed people on these cargo container ships. So they were using what would they use? Like water cannons to fight back these little fishing vessels. I mean, they're like 18-foot. It's embarrassing that they were able to do it. But now these container ships have armed security guards. I just think that's interesting. I thought I'd toss that in there. I don't know how I got off topic. We were talking about Iraq and Iran and whatever happened to Syria, right? So is Syria done? I don't know. We don't hear much about it anymore. The interesting part is this, though. So when people want to say that Israel is responsible for a ton of Middle East conflict, like they are, man. They share a border with Egypt. Remember what happened with Egypt? They had like a military coup after a protest. What was it? The Arab Spring? Saudi Arabia is safe. They'll be spared anything. I think they have Jewish backing, Jewish lineage, Jewish roots. I can't prove that, but there's a lot of history that points that. points to that. It's weird that we back Saudi Arabia and Israel, right? And then people want to say, oh, we don't have any, we can't control the Middle East. Man, we back Israel and Saudi Arabia. We're trying to mess up Iran, overthrow them right now. We already bombed the heck out of Iraq. We were bombing Syria. Israel was bombing Syria. We overthrew Egypt. We overthrew Libya. The Sudanese don't stand a chance. These people don't matter, right? The United Arab Emirates, no one messes with them. So, we're responsible for all of the conflict. All of it. We do it all. Here's Afghanistan. So we smashed them up pretty good. Afghanistan can't be beat. So I don't even know why we try. We'll never beat them. They'll never be beat by Russia. They were never beaten by anybody. No one can beat Afghanistan. We can try. We can stop growing poppies. Making heroin. Okay, so what else should we talk about? I want to talk about this stuff called balkanization. So we were just discussing that Israel and the United States, we cause all the conflict in the Middle East, all of it. 100% is our fault, all of it. Okay, let me make that really clear. So I don't want conflict. I want people to get along. I want people to be able to settle down and build cities and roads and bridges and keep them up for 100 years and send their kids to school and have, universities and farmland. I want people to get along. I really want a single state solution here in Israel. And what that means is that we just include these people. So it would just mean that the Gaza Strip, see this little dotted line right here? See these dotted lines? It just means that we would just make those go away. They're not real. That's what Google is telling us. Jordan has solid lines. Look, here's the edge of its country. These lines right here is the edge of Jordan. Israel doesn't have borders. And they don't want to define them either. They want to make illegal settlements in the West Bank, and they want to continue to kettle everybody that was stuck in this little box when they changed the lines. So, understand, this is new. This area, this all used to be an area called Palestine, all of it, and then it was broken into pieces after the fall of the Ottoman Empire, right during the start of World War I. So this is only this whole development is only 100 years old, 50 years old in some spots, 20, 30 years old in other spots. These dotted lines, the reason why they have them dotted is because they keep changing, and they know that 10 years from now, hopefully they're going to get these dotted lines to be smaller, not bigger. You got to keep smashing it in and smashing it in. Eventually, these people won't have anywhere to go, and then they can just be, I don't know what the end game is. Do you just kill them all? Because there's people in these areas, right? There's people in there. That's the weird thing. There's a lot of people in there, and they keep making it smaller and smaller. On purpose, and no one does anything about it. And there was a vote. Look at this real quick. I'm going to get off the map. And when you talk about why isn't Palestine a country, you'll get all kinds of weird answers from people. The real answer, okay, to get to the point, is Palestine isn't a country because Israel doesn't want it to be a country. 100%. And when you go read things like the UN Palestine vote, okay, what comes up under Wikipedia is, 1947 stuff. Okay, but if you type in 2012, you won't find it in predictive text. See, there's the UN Palestine vote 2016 election and 2015, right? But if you go look at 2012, you'll get other stuff. You'll never find it in predictive text. I think this might be it. Let's go look at here at Wikipedia. I'm doing this real time. So I think this is the vote where the UN was going to vote to recognize it as a country, it being Palestine. That was on the 29th of November, 2012. There was a resolution, it was 6719, that was going to upgrade Palestine to a non-member observer state status in the United Nations. So they were not going to get to join UN in voting, but they were going to be recognized as a statehood. Right now, Palestine is nothing. You don't understand that. They don't have anything. They're not. It's one of the only areas of the world besides like Antarctica that isn't a country. And it has borders. We just looked at them, but it's not a country. Antarctica, not a country. You know, but there's also no one living down there. Palestine has millions of people. Millions. So look, that was the vote. That's what we were supposed to vote for. 138 member countries voted for it. So the world said, yeah, let's do that. Nine said, no, let's not do it. And 41 was like, look, we're going to stay out of this. 5 people didn't show up. But 9 people voted against it. And because 9 people voted against it, it didn't pass. Now, the interesting part, let me go down here. You'll just see who voted against it. So here's the countries that rejected it. Canada, Czech Republic, Micronesia, Israel. Marshall Islands, Nauru, Palau, Panama, and the U.S., United States of America. So the United States, Canada, and Israel said no. There's the vote. Now remember, the United States, we have 13 senators who are all of the Democratic Party who have dual Israeli citizenship. And we have something like 27 House of Reps, all with dual Israeli citizenship. Israel runs our Congress. This is the UN vote, but you know, Israeli citizens occupy 10% of the United States American Congress that writes our laws. So, basically, Canada is a lot of the same, I imagine. I'm just guessing. So Israel is the one who said Palestinians can't be recognized as a country. Now, my guess on this is because they don't want these things, these dotted lines, they don't want them becoming solid. That would be bad for them. I think long term they want these dotted lines to get smaller and smaller. They want them to shrink and shrink, and it would be better if they could balkanize it. So bust this up into small little pieces that aren't connected with each other, so that maybe Israel could control all the roads, right? And then the West Bank would be busted into, 10 or 12 different districts, and they'd all be separated. And then they could run roadblocks between them. If you want to watch some videos, go look at Jewish or Israeli roadblocks on Palestinians. It's amazing. It's how they cause all the conflict. It's how they go in and kill some kids. They go occupy someone's little neighborhood, and then the people come out and they throw some rocks, and they shoot them with bullets. It's amazing that they get away with it. And the UN wants to go do humanitarian peacekeeping missions down in places like the Gaza Strip, and Israel says no. And because Israel has are they part of the Security Council on the UN? I think so. Because they occupy a key position, they can just do whatever they want. Now, look, here, I'll get this in before we leave. So Lebanon, this is the land of Canaan. And Lebanon, its capital is Beirut. Now, for some of you, this may sound familiar. Beirut is a very famous place. And it's because, about 20 years after Israel got statehood, they started expanding these battle lines. That dotted line started changing. And the first thing they had to do was make sure that Lebanon was destabilized. So, if you go look up Beirut, you'll find that there was a civil war, and then there was also a 1982 Lebanon war. These are both in Lebanon. And the civil war lasted 15 years. Killed 120,000 people. In 2012, okay, this is now, there were still 76,000 people that remained displaced within Lebanon. It's a war zone. So that's what happened here. So when you look, you realize that anybody who shares a border with Israel doesn't have a chance. They'll either kettle you and put increasing pressure over beating you up and smashing your stuff down and killing you, or they'll destroy you from within with civil war and displacement. And now you're seeing them do the same thing with North Africa and the flood of people hitting Europe. I'm out of time, though. So until next time, this is Bill Smith. Thanks for watching.